Nissan arguably doesn't get nearly enough credit for mainstreaming the electric vehicle. Sure, Tesla made EVs cool among Silicon Valley's venture capital set who aspire to a clean, fast, and prosperous future. And the Chevrolet Bolt is GM's second bite at the cherry that actually worked, proving all those EV ones didn't die in vain. But since 2010, it's Nissan that has actually been selling the most cars, with more than 290,000 Leafs worldwide, 114,000 of them here in the US. Now there's an all-new Leaf, one with better range, more power, better technology, and for less money than before. After spending the day driving one, I came away impressed. The outgoing Leaf might have sold well, but there's no escaping the fact that, by 2017 standards, it was outdated technology. The electric motor has been carried over, but there's a new inverter, among other improvements. Power output is boosted from 80 kilowatts to 110 kilowatts, and it's more torquey 320 Nm in the 2018 versus 254 Nm in the old model. Previous Leafs launched with a 24 kWh battery, and even when they were bumped mid-life to a 30 kWh pack, their range was dwarfed by the Model S and then the Bolt. Lithium-ion know-how has come a long way since then, and so the second-generation Leaf now comes with a 40 kWh pack, which means about 150 miles of range on a full charge. The new pack keeps the same footprint and still uses 192 cells, but now these are bundled as 24 modules of 8 rather than 48 modules of 4. A 60 kWh, longer-range battery is in the pipeline, but we'll have to wait until model year 2019 for that one. Although Nissan says battery management is improved, we know that some people are still concerned that, without active thermal management, degradation over time will be more of a problem than it is for EVs from Tesla or GM. Every Leaf now ships with an onboard 6.6 kilowatts charger. Supplied with such power, the battery will fully recharge in 7.5 hours. The SV and SL trim levels also include a CHAdeMO DC fast charging port at 50 kilowatts that will add 69% in 30 minutes, or 80% in 40 minutes. Nissan says is exploring the possibility of accepting greater power inputs, but there is nothing concrete to report on that front as of yet. Finally, at some point, it will also be possible to connect one's Leaf to the house grid and use it as a mobile battery pack. The idea emerged in the aftermath of the 2011 Tohoku earthquake, and between 4,000 to 5,000 Leaf-to-grid installations have been completed in Japan. But Nissan USA is still working with charger manufacturers to make that a reality over here. The company tells ours that it's protective over the battery warranty and needs to be satisfied that such installations won't affect the pack's performance. 7 years is almost as long a time in car design as it is in battery technology, and so the 2018 Leaf looks very different from its predecessor. Its face now wears the corporate V-Motion grille, with a 3D patterned, semi-translucent center section that proved impossible to photograph. The car's a more conventional two-box hatchback design now, complete with must-have styling touches like the floating C-pillar and a rear diffuser that looks more than just decorative. The coefficient of drag remains at 0.28. A better statistic to bench race would be the drag area, but no one seems to give those out anymore. The interior is similarly all new and much larger than before. Rear legroom is easily sufficient for adults, and there's 23.6 cubic feet of cargo room. The interior doesn't feel quite as funky as the Bolt's. Perhaps the choice of black, and more black on our test cars is to blame, and the materials don't always feel as high-grade to the touch. But it's worth remembering that the most fully loaded Leaf only costs as much as a base spec Bolt. Our test vehicle was a Leaf SL with the technology pack, and it retails for $37,738 before any tax credits or other EV incentives. From the driver's seat, a chunk finally appears in the Leaf's honor, the driving position. More specifically, it's the steering wheel, which only adjusts for rake, not reach. Even for someone as short as I, that means the Italian ape driving position, arms straight and legs splayed. That this was our biggest complaint when addressing the job Nissan's designers and engineers completed is a good sign. On the road, the steering feel was good, as was the handling, aided as in most EVs by a very low center of gravity. The suspension is also stiffer than the previous model, with good control over broken surfaces and potholes. A significant new addition to the Leaf driving experience is its e-pedal mode. You see, first-generation Leafs drove like normal cars, accelerator to go, brake pedal to slow, and a bit of torque creep engineered in to replicate that side effect of an automatic transmission plus internal combustion engine. But every EV to hit the streets since has done things differently. Pushing the accelerator pedal of a Model S, Bolt, or BMW i3 will make it go, but lifting that pedal has the opposite effect, causing deceleration via regenerative braking. While you can use the brake pedal in these vehicles, for driving in traffic or at urban speeds, it's quite possible to do everything with one pedal. Now the Leaf can do that too, using a feature activated by a button just ahead of the transmission controller. Nissan has tuned the Regan effect to be quite strong, similar to the BMW i3. Lifting the pedal will slow your roll at 0.2 G and activate the brake lights. Completely lift off the pedal and the Leaf will slow to a full stop with the friction brakes coming in seamlessly. Nissan says the system has been tested extensively on the hilly streets of San Francisco, the toughest real-world test it could find. Performance is right where you'd expect a car with about 150 horsepower and 3,500 pounds, a little slower than the Bolt, but less than 10 seconds to 60 mph. Mid-range acceleration felt strong, and you'd never be worried about joining a busy Californian freeway or darting into a sudden gap. And Nissan's estimate of 150 miles of range on a full charge seems about right. Nissan is already thinking about the future and it will launch a new car-sharing service in Japan. Nissan eShare Mobi will be introduced starting this week, allowing people access to a car owned by another party. This new car-sharing service does not require any membership fee. The only thing needed is a driver's license. The first vehicle used is the 2018 Leaf EV, with ProPilot, Nissan's signature lane-holding highway system. Those who suit this new program can also test the new in-car technology. eShare Mobi will start with 30 sharing stations across different Japanese prefectures such as Tokyo, Kanagawa, Osaka and Kyoto. Nissan wants the program to be a success and to expand it in other parts of Japan and why not, maybe even in other countries. Drivers who decide to subscribe to Nissan eShare Mobi have to pay toll costs during their trip and the car will be cleaned daily when not in use. The new vehicle is now in production in the US and it has more new features compared to the first generation. It includes a bigger battery, 147 horsepower electric motor and a range of 150 miles. The first Nissan Leaf car has been manufactured back in 2010 and so far the Japanese company has assembly teams in Japan, Apama plant, Yokosuka, Kanagawa, Centerland, Smyrna and Tennessee. Nissan Leaf vehicles are 5-door and compact with a front motor and front-wheel drive. From 2010 and until December 2016, more than 250,000 Nissan Leafs were sold worldwide. The biggest number of sales were registered in the US with 103,600 vehicles and followed by Europe with 68,000. Norway is the first country from Europe on the list.
Car-sharing services are nothing new. These services differ from those offered by Lyft or Uber in that users aren't passengers in someone's car, but rather renting one from a third party. It's akin to a more affordable, short-term version of traditional rental services such as Ace or Budget. Automakers themselves have gotten in on the car-sharing game and CNET reports that the latest to enter the field is Nissan. The company plans to introduce its eShare Mobi car-sharing service to Japan on January 15, 2018. The program will not charge a membership fee, nor will users be charged based on the distance they drive. Instead, it seems there will be a flat fee per rental. The cars come equipped with a card that covers the cost of tolls, but those costs will then be passed on to the renter. One of the first cars to be featured in the system will be the Nissan Leaf. The newest version of the Leaf offers some major improvements over the first model, including the ability to travel 200 miles on a charge. A larger battery is currently in production that will see that number increase to more than 225 miles. Additionally, the Leaf will feature Nissan's lane holding system. The cars will be cleaned once a day when they aren't in use, so renters won't have to worry about dealing with someone else's mess when they get into their car. The program will be available at about 30 different sharing stations across multiple Japanese prefectures including Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. If this program proves successful, Nissan is hoping to expand it across the country, but the company has remained silent regarding any plans to expand into Western markets such as the United States or the EU. The service should provide a way for users to obtain access to a car without dealing with large-scale rental agencies, and serve as some good advertising for the new Leaf. Renters can try out the car's new features and see how they like them. Nissan is probably hoping that a few will be persuaded to buy a Leaf of their own.